Well, this week we've come along to one of the best preserved medieval cities in Europe. It's witnessed the rise and fall of empires. It's even led to some thought-provoking attractions. And over the next 4 days, I'm setting out to discover this once former capital city. Welcome to Krakow. So Krakow has just been rated Europe's best city break, and I've come along to find out what all the fuss is about. I'm starting my stay with a visit to Zurian Hotel in the heart of Krakow, which is just a 15-minute walk from the main market square. So exploring Krakow is super safe. In fact, on every street you'll find a different kind of bar and a different kind of restaurant. But if you are just arriving and you want to take out money, my advice, head to Swalowska Street, which is just off the main square, and it's here you'll find the best currency exchange rates in the city, in a place called a cantor. First up, it's a short 20-minute journey out of the city. Well, our first trip here in Krakow is the Wawel salt mines, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the world's deepest and oldest underground salt mines. So we're off to explore some of those caverns and corridors. Now, you get to choose between a tourist or a miner's route, but just be prepared, it's quite a steep climb down. How many steps, Jacob?
380.
Yep, you heard right. Descending down over 380 steps is the only way to head down to this hidden world of secrets and legends. So one thing to think about if you come into the salt mines is just how warm it is underground. We're about 100 metres underground. We're in thermals, jumpers, jackets, and Jacob, how warm is it?
18 degrees.
18 degrees. So the weather upstairs isn't how cold it's going to be downstairs. So just prepare for that because we're boiling. Now, mining here was discontinued in 1996, and the horizontal passages and chambers can cover some 178 miles. Do you reckon I should try some?
Do it.
Oh my days, that's salty. Come on.
Actually lick it?
Yeah. Well, no, take it on your hand, and then actually taste it. Now, as well as an underground lake, the mine features 4 chapels, and the most impressive is the St. Kinga's Chapel. This huge space is carved from salt, and the ceilings decorated with salt crystal chandeliers. In fact, pretty much everything below ground is carved from salt, including the altar. Descending even further into the mine, there's a variety of chambers used for everything from concerts to special events. You can even get married, and these deep, dark tunnels were also used by the occupying Germans as an underground manufacturing facility during the Second World War. So what we've seen today is just 1% of the salt mines, so you can just imagine how big this place actually is. So today we're heading to Wawel Castle here in Krakow, considered one of the best examples of Renaissance architecture anywhere in Poland. So let's go check it out.
Jay, do you know your channel's called JC Explores?
Yeah.
Can it now be called Jay and Jacob Explores?
Absolutely not. It was worth a try. So exploring Krakow as a city, you get a real sense that so much of the area was undamaged during World War II, and that's because Krakow as a city was made an important seat of general government. So much of the decisions that we've seen and heard about in history were made in this city, and the man responsible, Governor General Hans Frank, was based here at Wawel Castle. Well, I'm standing on the balcony of Wawel Castle overlooking an important street in the city of Krakow. So let's go find out why. Now, this is number 7 Stasiago Street. So if you've watched the Hollywood movie Schindler's List, you might recognise this grey, fairly unremarkable building behind me. Now, it features in the movie. We see Liam Neeson walking out of those doors, but also, during the war, it's where Oskar Schindler lived, up there on the 3rd floor. Now, Oskar Schindler employed Jews and protected them at his factory from the brutality of daily life in Poland, and we're heading to the historic Kazimierz, or the Jewish Quarter, which was once the centre of Jewish life in Krakow before it was systematically destroyed during the Second World War. Now, everywhere you look in Krakow, there's part of that hidden history or just a throwback to some darker times, including this wall, the only remaining part of the original wall, which was designed to keep the Jewish people inside the ghetto. Now, originally a barbed wire fence, it was replaced by this, a concrete wall. And if it looks like tombstones, it was designed to be a final reminder to the Jewish people that this would be their final resting place. In 1941, a ghetto was created in this area where the remaining 15,000 Jews were crammed into an area previously lived in by just 3,000 people. These days, well, the historic district is now an atmospheric mix of cafes and bars and galleries with a resurgence of the culture that was once all but destroyed, and of course, some amazing food, including pierogi. Next up, we're heading south and some 1,000 metres above sea level, where Poland borders nearby Slovakia. Exploring the village of Chochów, this area represents the most complete survival of a 200-year-old village in the country. The village is home to a talented local wood sculptor. His studio is packed to the brim with hand-carved works, and the house itself, both inside and out, is an enchanting example of traditional life in this area. And you can't come to these parts without sampling the local delicacies and trying some traditional smoked sheep's cheese. But it's not for everyone.
I like that.
And if you don't like the cheese, well, you can always wash it down with some Soplika cherry vodka, which has been produced in Poland since 1891.
I can't drink it. I can't drink it.
After a short stop, we're heading up the mountain on the funicular railway, which operates all year round and takes just over 3 minutes to get to the top. Now, if you're enjoying today's video so far, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button below. So for our second trip, we've come to a place called Zakopane in the foothills of the Tatra Mountains. Now, this place is often described as the winter capital of Poland. It's popular with walkers, skiers, sightseers, and it does look a bit like the Alps. Now, we've arrived just ahead of ski season, which normally begins around Christmas and normally lasts until the end of March, but this place is well worth a visit any time of year. And for those who fancy a different outlook, there's always the 692-metre-long toboggan run back down the side of the mountain. It lasts just over 5 minutes, but you can always go round again. There's a lift back to the top. Then it's time to finish the day with a trip to the thermal baths with an amazing view of the Tatra Mountains. This thermal pool water is kept around a pleasant 36 degrees and features thermal sulfur and brine iodized water that's said to have both a beneficial impact on the skin and the circulation system. Well, today's trip is one I've wanted to do for a very long time, but for a very different reason. So today we're off somewhere that played an important part in our world history, but not just that, an important part in my family story. Now, that's because Auschwitz-Birkenau is where my grandfather escaped from in the early 1940s before fleeing to London. So today, and this trip, is going to be quite personal. Now, from the outset, it's clear this was always going to be a solemn and emotionally tough experience before you include that family connection. The Holocaust was one of the most horrifying acts that humans have ever committed, and there's no getting away from one simple fact. This place was an extermination camp where up to 6,000 people were killed in gas chambers each and every day. Now, for those who follow my channel, you'll know that my videos are normally fun and upbeat, and this has been by far the most difficult thing that I've had to witness, and I thought long and hard about whether I include this trip as part of this vlog at all. Walking around, my mind was filled with a million thoughts and questions that will never see a rational answer. But for the sake of history, I felt it important for what happened here to be remembered by other generations. Especially, well, because I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the bravery of my own family member to escape this horrendous place. Above all else, well, the hardest thing to witness was the personal possessions brought in by the Jews to the camp, which were then found at the site when it was finally liberated. After visiting Roll Call Square, where a twice-daily roll call was often just a reason for the SS to terrorise the inmates, it was on to the yard outside Block 11. It's here the condemned were led to the wall of execution, and as you can tell, the windows were covered over so that German officers didn't have to witness the daily horror that happened outside this block. And that's where I've decided to end the footage, outside Crematorium 1, the original gas chamber, and I've chosen not to film inside. Some things just have to be seen by the human eye in person. The biggest camp, some 3 kilometers away from Auschwitz I, is Birkenau, which held more than 90,000 prisoners at a time, and nearly all were brought here on train carriages like this. So each one of those just beyond the electric fence is a barracks which would have held hundreds of people, and you can just see they go on for as far as the eye can see. It's outside this hut that Joseph Mengele, or the Angel of Death, would decide who lived for a little while longer and who went straight to the gas chamber. So this behind me is the ruins of some of the gas chambers here at Birkenau, and to give you an idea, it's in camps like this at Auschwitz-Birkenau that some 1.1 million men, women and children died. And to give you an idea, that's a city like Birmingham and a country like Ireland in terms of population. Horrific. With the advancing Red Army, orders were quickly given to destroy the evidence of crime, so Crematoria 2 and 3, together with these gas chambers, were blown up in January of 1945. While many of the wooden barracks have now since succumbed to the elements of time, the brick buildings remain as a final reminder of just how bleak life once was in this part of Poland. So in each hut, they reckon there was about 800 people, and each bunk was on 3 different levels, with each one having about 6 or 7 people in each bed. And they reckon when it was liberated, there was about 1,000 people in each hut. For both of us, well, this really was an emotionally powerful and unforgettable experience that reminds each and every one of us of the darkest chapters in our human history. Now, I don't want to end this vlog on one of history's most devastating moments, because Krakow has so much positivity on every single corner, from rich cultural history to stunning architecture and some delicious food. Keeping watch over Europe's second largest market square for the last 7 centuries is the imposing Gothic spires of St. Mary's Basilica, one of Krakow's best landmarks and probably one of the most widely recognised churches in Poland. Grabbing a scooter is a quick and easy way to get around, and you can pick them up and leave them at pretty much every corner. So this is a great way to see the city, if Jacob can keep his balance, that is. You alright, Jacob?
No, struggling. I can only go right, I can't straight.
It's the perfect way to avoid the traffic and check out some of the best street food with a short hop to Plac Nave. So this area tends to come alive about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and one of the most popular Polish street foods is a zapiekanka. It's kind of like a Polish pizza. So I've gone for a gastro, which is chicken, spinach, mushroom, melted cheese. So let's tuck in and give it a try. and they are so much better than a pizza. Now, they do love their baked goods here in Krakow. Ile? And next up are these small bread stalls, which you'll find dotted all across the city. So this is a Opa Vanik Krakowski, which is basically like a small bagel. So it comes in a variety of flavours like cheese, like sesame seed, poppy seed and salt. And let's give it a try. In fact, it's exactly like a bagel. So from fantastic drinks to regional specialities, local meats and surprisingly tasty sweet treats, not to mention so many things to do and see. I can't believe it's taken me this long to come and explore this amazing destination. Not a fan?
No, not at all.
Well, that's just about it from Krakow, one of Europe's most picturesque and cheapest cities. Have you enjoyed?
Yeah, have you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to ask any comments in the section below. Until next time.